You see, after two very long and strenuous seasons, with Darvin Ham under the helm, not knowing what he was doing at every turn, the Lakers have now fired their third head coach in 6 seasons. Hell, it goes farther back than this, because since Phil Jackson's retirement in 2011, the Lakers have ran through 7 different head coaches, if you want to count Bernie Bickerstaff's 5 games. But I say all of this to say that there has been zero stability at the position, and it has cost this historic franchise immensely. They've only gone on to win 1 championship, and that 1 ring came during the bubble season. So do with that information what you will. Now, the current lead candidate for the head coaching job down in LA is JJ Redick, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, he does have several ties to not only the city of LA, but the Lakers right now, all right? And we'll dive more into that in a second, but I did want to mention that for a certain point in time, he wasn't their number 1 option. No, Adrian Wojnarowski had came out and reported that the Lakers were strongly going after Dan Hurley, you know, the head coach for UConn's men's basketball team, the one that's led them to back-to-back national championships. Yes, that Dan Hurley was the number 1 target for the Lakers heading into the offseason, and just this past weekend, it was announced that Dan Hurley would decline the Lakers' 7-year, $80 million offer and instead return back to the Huskies. And that's put the Lakers in a bit of a predicament, because before that report came out, you know, the JJ Redick rumors had started up. And now they're starting back up since Dan Hurley is out of the mix. And before we continue on with this video, I just wanted to remind you guys to slow down, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers. I feel like we can do so. We get closer and closer every day, so it really helps if you subscribe. Much appreciated. All right, now let's get back to talking about JJ Redick. He is a very interesting choice for the Lakers, right? I mean, he knows basketball better than just about anybody else in the world right now. He's lived basketball, he's played basketball, he has been basketball for the past 20 years of his life, even before that, really. I mean, if we take a look at the beginning of his career, it started off in Duke. Came out of high school, was a freshman, and then in his first year with Duke, he averaged 19.5 points, 2.6 assists, 1.5 steals, 43% shooting from the field, was a 3-point sharpshooter, 39% is what he's best known for. He was electric as a freshman at Duke. Coach K noticed this, and he kept him around for 3 more years. And then by his senior season at Duke, JJ Redick was averaging 28.9 points, 2.8 assists, 1.6 steals, from the field 47%, and from the 3-point line 42%. JJ Redick is exactly what Coach K needed. Now, did he win a national championship in his time there? No, but he did have a lot of individual success. The amount of individual success that I don't think will ever be replicated, especially now that we are in a one-and-done era of college basketball. I mean, JJ Redick dominated the ACC for 4 years. Who even stays and plays college ball and will be a good NBA player for 4 years, right? I mean, he won ACC Player of the Year, AP Player of the Year, the Roop Trophy twice, you know, ACC Tournament MVP multiple times, the Naismith Award, all right? This man's accolades were endless. And then he makes it to the pros, where he's on the Orlando Magic, right? He gets drafted with the 11th overall pick. It takes a couple of years for JJ Redick to even break the rotation, but once he does, he doesn't lose his spot. And he was able to reach the NBA Finals with the Orlando Magic. Was he a big piece of that puzzle? No, but he was still an important part, right? And then in his last season with Orlando, I mean, he went from averaging about 6 points a game, only playing in about half the games his first season, to now having 15 points per game, you know, in his last half season with the Magic, 4.4 assists. From the field, he was shooting about 45%, and from the 3-point line, 39%. JJ Redick was a legitimate player. Hell, he was a 6th Man of the Year candidate in his last half season with the Magic, okay? And that led to his stint with the Clippers, where he got really popular, maybe the most popular he had been since his Duke days, okay? And that's when he was playing with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. I mean, that era was so iconic that while the teams had constantly underperformed, they ended up getting a TV show about them. Was it a good Hulu TV show? No, but a TV show nonetheless. And in this era, this is when JJ Redick was playing some of his best ball. As the third option, he was going out and averaging about 16 points a year, only really about 2 assists, but that wasn't his job, right? His job wasn't to pass the rock. That's what they had CP3 for. His job was to sit and shoot threes, and he did that very well. 47% from the three-point line in 2016. 48% from the field. He almost shot better from the three-point line than he did from the field. That's the timing JJ Redick was on. Hell, most of his shots were coming from the three-point line. And then after his days with the Clippers ran dry, he went to the 76ers. And he almost had a chance to win a championship there. But of course, JJ Redick would go on to retire ringless. Now, he did put up some impressive numbers in Philadelphia, averaging about 18 points a game. Pretty nice. 2.5 assists. About 45% from the field, and then 40% from the three-point line. And that's how JJ Redick said goodbye to basketball, right? But the question is, how much years of coaching experience does JJ Redick have? None. None at the collegiate level, none at the high school level, definitely none at the NBA level, right? He hasn't even been an assistant coach anywhere. Now, I love JJ Redick. Loved him as a player, loved him out of Duke, loved him with the Clippers, with the Magic. He's been very fun and exciting to watch. And then even after he retired, he's been very entertaining. Whether it be on mainstream media, when he makes guest appearances on ESPN, or even if he's in the booth like he is right now during the NBA Finals, he's a very good commentator. You know, watch the Old Head in the Three podcast he has. I watched the podcast he has with LeBron James. You know, one of the reasons he might have been considered for the job is that he has a podcast with their star player. So there is that. But JJ Redick has never been a coach ever, all right? So while, yes, there is upside there is a lot more negatives that JJ Redick carries, you know, coming into this position. Sometimes, you know, it's not the coaches who fail the Lakers, but the Lakers who fail the coaches, such as Frank Vogel, for example. I mean, this guy, he went out and he brought the Lakers a championship in his first season as the head coach. And previously, he had had some success with the Indiana Pacers during the Paul George era. So, you know, he was a valuable head coach. He had even been the head coach several other times in several other places. He was well experienced, a great coach, in fact. The reason they fired him is because Jeannie Buss had said that he had failed to maximize Russell Westbrook on the roster, failed to integrate him, and I feel like he was the scapegoat because after they won the championship, they ended up losing in the first round the very next year. But obviously that was because LeBron James and Anthony Davis were coming off of very long seasons. They were both heavily injured. The roster just wasn't the same. And they had made several changes when they didn't need to. And of course, after that season, Frank Vogel's third year, the team missed the playoffs entirely. And that was because trading for Russell Westbrook was such a shitty decision. Everybody knew it at the time, and everybody was well aware of it afterwards. And yet, they needed a scapegoat. That was Frank Vogel. That's a time where the Lakers failed the head coach. And the question remains, is JJ Redick the right choice here? And I don't know. Honestly, no one knows. Why? Because of the zero coaching experience. But is it an exciting choice? Is it a Lakers choice? Yeah, this is very stereotypical of the Lakers to choose someone like JJ Redick. Honestly, if he ends up being the head coach, I wish him the best because I'm a Lakers fan and I'm a JJ Redick fan, all right? Now, that's about it for this video. Really just wanted to cover the potential of JJ Redick getting signed, and that's about it, right? Catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.